Hi there. It's Professor Monty, and let me show you how to use the distance formula. So the distance between any 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, is this formula. The distance d is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Now, if you care, this comes from Pythagorean Theorem. And remember, the Pythagorean Theorem says c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So this is a, this is why this is squared, and that's why that's plus this is squared. They took the square root of both sides, that's why you don't see the squared. But that's how you remember it. This is kind of a squared plus b squared. So that, to me, helps me remember the signs and what's squared. Now, the good part is, if you call this point x1, y1, and this one x2, y2, that's fine. Or if you switch them, it doesn't matter. So there's a lot of give and take in these as far as how you do these. But this is always x, that's always y. So our problem says find the distance between the points. Well, we're going to label this x1, y1. It has to go xy. Don't go x1, x2. That wouldn't make any sense. And then this will be x2, y2. So I'm going to use that in the formula to find the distance between these. So the distance, and I'm just going to write the formula down again. It's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then take the square root. So now I just plug those numbers straight in. So let's see. So d equals, well, x2 is 3, so I get 3 minus 4 squared plus y2, 6 minus negative 2 squared. And then I'm going to take the square root of that whole thing. Now, the square root doesn't cancel these squares because we've got that plus in the middle. I can't distribute that over. But remember, this means 6 plus 2. So really, I have the distance in this case. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. I'm going to square that. Plus 6 plus 2 is 8. I'm going to square that, and then just take the square root. And so I get the distance is 1 plus 64, the square root of all that, or the square root of 65. So it's a little more than 8 units, because the square root of 64 would be 8. It's a little bigger than that. We can plug that into our calculator to get an approximation if we want to. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that. Let's just say, so I've got the square root of 65. Say we go to 2 decimal places, it's about 8.06. So depending on how we want that as an exact answer or a calculator approximation, we can do that. But you need to remember the formula. Again, it comes from Pythagorean Theorem, but memorize this formula. You're going to use this time and time again in algebra, so you may want to commit it to memory as soon as possible. All right, hope that helps. I like to label x1, y1, x2, y2 so that I can just plug them in, and it makes it simple. All right, best of luck to you, and we'll talk more later.